Hi, before you get into this video, I want to go ahead and apologize in advance for any peeking that you might hear. I recorded this script one time and my delivery was just really bad, so I re-recorded it, but on the time that I re-recorded, my microphone was too close to me, I think, and it suffered the consequences, but I just do not have the energy to redo it again, and I still think that it tracks, despite all these things. Also, I did something different with my intro, and the people who know will know, so let me know how I feel about that if you care at all. Enjoy the video. Hello, I'm Miss DS Woman, and I have thought long and hard about what I wanted to say for this intro. I have been cautious regarding what I say on this channel, but I'm going in a different direction today because no matter what, someone is going to dislike what I'm doing. That's just how the internet works. I want to make my intentions clear. Just so there's no confusion, I am not trying to make this a video essay or criticism or anything of that nature. Criticism is a skill, and I am not bold enough to call the things I do on this channel critiques. As of right now, the majority of the things I say in these commentary videos are my thoughts. My pure, informed, unwarranted thoughts. I know some people don't like quote-unquote political talk from their YouTubers, but I appreciate the incorporation of real-world issues into content in a way that does not come off as condescending. In this video, I will talk about my favorite female video game characters and female representation in general. That's enough intro out of me, so let's get into it. I found an article from Diamond Lobby titled, "Is Female Representation in Video Games Improving?" Data suggests yes, but not enough, written by Brittany Lynn and edited by Luke Jordan. Now, I do want to emphasize that this is just one article and not representative of all the data ever on this topic, but I thought it would be useful to put in this video. Diamond Lobby analyzed 152 major games released in 2022 and shared its findings about female characters. According to Diamond Lobby, in the year 2022, 26% of games had an equal number of playable male and female characters, 28% of games had more playable female characters than male, and 46% of games had more playable male characters than female. In the final thoughts section of the article, Lynn writes, "The data that we looked at in 2022 seems to suggest two things. Firstly, we clearly don't have equality between male and female representation in video games yet. Secondly, the industry is undoubtedly making improvements. Whilst progress is being made to introduce a larger number of female characters in video games, albeit a little slowly, we'd like to see more games where females have a leading role. Great games can have male leads or female leads, like Horizon Forbidden West showed earlier in 2022, and many other amazing titles before it." This article, and some others that I will put in the description box, gave me a lot of insight, not only because of the data collected, but also due to the history of female representation in games. In the very beginning, when assets were limited, female characters looked like their male counterparts, but there was usually a detail that showed the players they were female. Miss Pac-Man is an example of this. Additionally, came the damsels in distress, which I am sure most of you watching this know about. Playable female characters came as early as the 1980s. Characters like Miss Pac-Man, Samus Aran, and others that paved the way for the girls we see today. The existence of these characters is a conundrum of sorts. Not the fact that they literally exist, but what their existence means. On one hand, for female gamers, which there are a lot of, it is nice to see someone who is like them in their games. And when I say like them, I mean like someone who has the same experiences as they do. There are certain experiences that some groups have, and other groups won't have those experiences. Especially since while there are of course female gamers, the gaming industry is still male dominated. On the other hand, being represented can only do so much. For one thing, these mega corporations in the gaming world do not care like that. They will do what is going to make them money at the end of the day. While I am a believer that something is better than nothing and having different types of characters is a good thing, it is not good to address sexism only on screen. A lot of women in gaming communities, whether it be for work or not, are harassed and mistreated. That's a topic that I don't really see talked about often. And I haven't even brought intersectionality into this yet. That's a whole other can of worms. These things should not be this deep, but they are due to capitalism, patriarchy, and a whole bunch of other isms and phobias that I hope we can dismantle someday. This is me editing this video, and I just wanted to add the point that even attempting to talk about this online is frustrating because of this internet culture where no one wants to apply nuance to anything. And I am aware that my commentary on these subjects are pretty surface level, and the reason why is because I myself need to dig more into these things, and I don't just want to claim to be an expert on anything. So I intend to keep it that way until I myself know more about them. So if you're wondering why I haven't dove deep into certain things, that's why. Now we can return back to our regularly scheduled video. I know I might sound like a Debbie Downer right now, but I truly believe that at this moment things are on the up and up for female characters in games. I mean, Sonic Superstars came out recently and that had Amy Rose being playable again, and there's a whole other female character that I didn't even know about, so I have to go look into her. Princess Peach Showtime is coming out and we are getting another game with Princess Peach as a protagonist, and something dope that's happening that I'm really looking forward to seeing is more black women being in games. I mean, we had Amanda the Adventurer, the horror game with the little black girl. It was really cool seeing that be a moment and seeing YouTubers play that game and give it acknowledgement. So I am really glad right now, and I hope that these things are as genuine as they can be. On that note, I want to show love to 3 of my favorite female characters with leading roles. For each character I list, I will share a general description and what I love about them. Juliet Starling is the main protagonist of the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 game Lollipop Chainsaw. She was the first character that came to mind when I formulated the idea for this video. Juliet is a student and cheerleader at San Romero High who also happens to be a zombie hunter. She comes from a family of zombie hunters, actually. Juliet is dedicated to everything she's involved with, especially her boyfriend Nick Carlisle. Juliet's character is similar to Elle from the Legally Blonde movies. What I love about Juliet and Elle is that they are both unapologetically girly. In the early 2000s when I was growing up, a lot of girly characters I saw in and out of video games were usually painted out to be mean, annoying, or evil. There was also the not like other girls archetype that still persists today. It was like you had to be one or the other and nobody could be both. So it's nice to see a character that wears pink being the protagonist that does good unto others. Something I realized about Juliet upon watching the cutscenes and gameplay of Lollipop Chainsaw is that she has insecurities and problems like an actual person. I feel like sometimes protagonists in games don't have their flaws explored, or even flaws to explore in some cases. But this isn't the case for Juliet. Spoiler alert if you don't want to be spoiled on Lollipop Chainsaw for some reason, but at the beginning of the game, Juliet worries about what Nick will think of her being a zombie hunter. She doesn't want the people she loves to get hurt and worries when they are in danger. And she's body conscious. She really does not want to get fat, which on that subject, she isn't fat at all, and even if she was, that wouldn't devalue her as a person. Overall, Juliet is a refreshing character to see as a protagonist of a video game. She breaks a lot of female game character stereotypes, and I respect it. Also, the main antagonist, Swan, is basically a incel necromancer, and I love the fact that she defeats him. That is all.
I wish I hadn't needed your help, Sonic, but thank you. By the way, you seem to look less spiky.
To probably no one's surprise, I want to talk about my love for Blaze the cat from the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. Again, Blaze is the princess of the Soul Empire and the guardian of the Soul Emeralds. If you don't know what those are, they're an alternate version of the Chaos Emeralds. So basically, Sonic and Blaze are from different dimensions, and the Chaos Emeralds are the emeralds in Sonic's dimension, the Soul Emeralds are the emeralds in Blaze's dimension. Make sense? Alright. Whenever the Soul Emeralds are in jeopardy, Blaze's dimension is also in jeopardy, so she takes her role very seriously. Blaze is arguably the most powerful female character in the Sonic franchise. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think she was the first female Sonic character with a super form. She has the power of pyrokinesis, which is a fancy way of saying she can create and manipulate fire with her mind. Blaze also has insecurities and flaws that show up in the game she's in. The emotional labor of being the sole princess and guardian gets to her. In her first appearance in the game Sonic Rush, Blaze at first closes herself off from other characters and insists on being alone. Now of course, it's good to be independent, but you don't want to be by yourself all the time. We must rely on others at some point to be in a healthy state. We need community. What I love about Blaze is that she develops throughout the Rush trilogy. I could go on a whole tangent about the Rush trilogy, but for the sake of time, these are the games where Blaze is introduced and prominent. She learns to make friends and work with others, but she doesn't do a complete 180. She still prefers to work alone, and that's okay. I will say, I wish that Blaze was utilized more in Sonic games. It's like you have this powerful female character that has several abilities, but she's usually always in the background. Even in Sonic Rush, I feel like the amount of characters who tell her to get help from Sonic crosses the line of good intentions and becomes condescending. Blaze can do things by herself, and I want to see her do them more often. There are a bunch of Sonic characters in general who I wish could be seen more, but if I listed all of them in this video, it would be hours long. Let's move on before I dive too deep into this.
So, Alex, the day's finally here. You've been at the Helping Hands group home for 8 years. We've been through a lot in that time.
We have.
Last but not least, my third favorite female character for this video is Alex Chen from Life is Strange True Colors, also known as Life is Strange 3. The Life is Strange games typically involve some abnormal powers, and Alex's abnormal power is empathy. She can see other people's auras, and if she gets close enough, she can read their thoughts. The strongest and most dangerous part of her power, though, is that if she feels enough energy from another person, she will channel that energy and feel what they are feeling. This can lead to Alex appearing unstable and scaring people. That, along with some other traumatic things, is why no family wanted to adopt her in her foster care years. That's not just me saying that, the Life is Strange Wiki uses those words in her biography. I love a lot of things about Alex's character, but the thing I love the most is how fleshed out her powers are. Hear me out. I feel like there's a lot of conversation about how having a lack of empathy is bad, but we don't talk about having, for lack of a better wording, too much empathy. Of course, I will never say that it's a bad thing to feel others' emotions and pain. I don't know if you can tell by listening to me, but I'm an emotional person. But in my perspective, you can hurt yourself in the process of caring for others. There's so much suffering going on in this world, and if you follow what's going on in the news and whatnot, it's easy to feel down due to the state of things. There's a video on this concept of misery pollution that I will link in the description that I encourage you to watch if you want to see this tangent I'm making elaborated on further. My point is, I love Alex's character because her powers do not represent the oh so quirky I'm an empath types who are not empaths at all. Alex feels things like happiness, sadness, and the more taboo things like anger, grief, and fear. We see how these things can positively or negatively affect her in what she's trying to do. These feelings come and go in this life, and if we're going to discuss empathy, I think we should look at it realistically. Even with empathy literally being Alex's superpower, I think Life is Strange 3 shows it realistically. I know there are valid critiques of the game, but that is one part of it I appreciate. Also, Alex is both an Asian American and a sexual minority. It is nice to see those things described about the protagonist and not some side character. I'm in neither of these communities, so I won't comment on whether her representation was good or not, but if you are a part of them, I would love to know your thoughts in the comments. I limited my list to 3 characters for the sake of time, but I have a lot of honorable mentions. These mentions are going to be rapid fire, and I may make another video elaborating on some of these characters in the future, but for now, my honorable mentions are Princess Daisy, Shari, Samus Aran, Kazooie, Ulala, Ellie Williams, Haru Okumura, and pretty much all the women in Jet Set Radio. I am sure there are some characters I'm forgetting right now, but this is the current list. That's pretty much all I have to say about this topic for now. I would love to know who some of your favorite female characters in video games are, so feel free to share them in the comments if you like. I hope you enjoyed this thought-filled video, and I think I will make some more casual videos in the future because I miss that. I got tired of making them last year, but I am ready to return to that style of content. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good time wherever you are.